Hi, I appreciate you all taking the time to tune into my presentation. The topic of discussion is of two separate but related areas of collection management, disaster planning and collection preservation. It is the responsibility of information specialists to ensure that the protection of items in the library is of a high priority. The goal of the preservation of collection items and plans that increase disaster preparedness is to prevent or reduce environmental damage, the deterioration of physical material, and the possible loss of access to digital information within a collection. In this presentation, risk factors, challenges, and protective measures and frameworks for the management of collections within our library will be delved into. In the conservation of a collection, disaster planning is crucial. A disaster plan allows libraries to be well prepared to safeguard against possible risks like flooding, power outages, severe weather conditions, leaking, hazardous materials, fires, and earthquakes. An extensive disaster plan or a disaster preparedness framework should help to minimize the risk of a disaster, support efforts to prevent disasters from occurring, and assist in the recovery of the collection post-disaster. Its purpose is to fortify the collection to have a greater longevity. A lack of a proper plan would precipitate the destruction of items in the library's collection, or the ability to distribute them, and in turn limit the accessibility of these items, leading to a need to exhaust resources to remedy it. This indicates just how vital a disaster plan is within a library. According to the Library of Australia's disaster policy, for a disaster plan to be comprehensive, it should consist of a clear list of the responsibilities of staff members in the protection, risk prevention, and post-disaster recovery of the collection, and of our staff should be trained so that they are prepared. Instructions on collection area checks and the signs of a possible disaster must also be listed, such as the evidence of water, fire hazards, and pests. During wet weather, special precautions need to be taken. Those should be listed in the plan. When renovations to the library building are occurring, it is a particularly likely time for the risk of a disaster. The revisions of risk management in that type of scenario is a crucial part of a disaster plan. A structure of command when it comes to how possible risk factors, the disasters themselves, and post-disaster strategy are handled is vital information, and as is a breakdown of the emergency supplies and maintenance required in the face of a disaster. There are a great deal of challenges when it comes to collection preservation that come in many different forms. Materials in a library can succumb to damages like insect infestation, acid in paper, relative humidity, temperature, air pollution, mildew, magnetism, dust and dirt, light or vibration. Failure to solve these problems will lead to the degradation and deterioration of library materials, which can cause information held within the library to be permanently lost. The improper handling of the materials could also have adverse effects on the items, such as the risk of exposure to ultraviolet radiation, excessive transport, which leads to more opportunities for damages, and needless photocopying, which could lead to faster deterioration and misidentification of the original material. Therefore, it is imperative that library materials are handled with that in mind. There are some preventative measures that should be put in place. The maintaining of an area that is 22 to 23 degrees Celsius and relative humidity of 45 to 50%, along with proper ventilation, an air conditioner, dehumidifiers, and the placement of cilia gel. Sun filters help to control the radiant light energy, and levels of light in an area should not exceed 50 lux. Documents should be handled carefully in transportation, and as mobile storage systems could create friction and damage, they should be avoided. Location of a library should be away from trains, automobiles, etc., to avoid the effects of vibrations, and libraries should avoid using magnets in order to not disturb magnetically recorded information. Deacidification can be used to remove acid from paper. The State Library New South Wales 2024 states that the main challenges of digital preservation in libraries are physical deterioration of the media on which the information is stored, which is more susceptible to devastating loss, and the obsolescence of the digital software that the information is stored in, which can occur within just a few years. The use of sustainable file formats and authentication of digital objects can ensure digital content is preserved. Standardized metadata is key in ensuring long-term accessibility to digital information. Creating multiple copies of the data, transferring the data in cases of digital obsolescence, and the emulation of older data, even in new systems, and proactive and continuous data management are all vital parts of digital preservation. These are all crucial steps that must be taken to ensure the survival of digital material. In the end, for proper management and conservation of a library's collection, a disaster plan and collection preservation must be involved. It's important to understand what steps need to be taken to preserve the collection and why those steps must be taken and what exactly they entail. Thank you.